Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Mark Causey here from Black Cat Comics in Rockin' Milpitas. Every Wednesday is New Comic Day and I like to give you some great reasons to get down to your local comic shop and pick up something fun to read. This week, like the last few weeks, is packed with great stuff. I always like to start with this guy. This is your shiny, foily version of Batman 56, one of the biggest books in comics, written by the master Tom King. This one follows right on the footsteps of Batman 55, which you've probably already read. And speaking of Batman 55, this is Nightwing number 50, also picking up right on the heels of Batman number 55. Might have been reading a lot about this one on the internet. Big changes going on with this guy. Fun stuff. Deathstroke starts a new story arc where he's in Arkham, following up his adventures with Batman in the last few issues of this book. And Batman and the Maxx. Couldn't be more excited about this. I'm a huge fan of the Maxx, a huge fan of Sam Keith. Very excited to see Sam Keith back doing something with Batman. Been a while since he did that Secrets book. If you don't know much about the Maxx, I've got the first issue of the old series up here on the wall. Love this title, love Sam Keith. Pick that up this week. That's great stuff. Adventures of the Super Sons is your super book for the week. Sort of a prequel, since we all know what's been going on with John lately. And The Witching Hour, Wonder Woman and Justice League Dark is your Wonder Woman book of the week. Because I always like to start the DC part by talking about the Trinity. This will be a two-parter. If you're not following Justice League Dark, you really want to get into that, because that book is something awesome. And speaking of the League, this is Justice League number 9. Next to Batman, this is probably the biggest book DC has, the biggest book in comics. Justice League versus the Legion of Doom, Joker, Luthor, everybody, all the big heroes taking on all the big villains. Great stuff there. Green Lanterns gets a cool, shiny, foily cover. A lot going on in this book as it builds up toward the Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp launch of Green Lantern. Good stuff. And Green Arrow, another super shiny, foily book, along with Curse of the Brimstone and The Unexpected. DC's going to have a lot of these cool foily books all month long because they like their cool cover format stuff. Harley Quinn number 51 rounds out your DC proper, but of course there's always more DC to talk about, like Injustice. It's your video game tie-in book of the week. United States versus Murder Inc. is your Brian Michael Bendis Jinx World book of the week. He's doing so much more over there than the super stuff, like Cover and Scarlet and Pearl and this one. Very prolific guy, that Bendis. Border Town is part of Vertigo's relaunch, part of their anniversary, kicking out a whole bunch of new titles, along with The Dreaming. Got all kinds of new Sandman stuff rolling out. Pick up that Sandman Universe one-shot and roll out to the 4 ongoings that are spinning out of it. A little more on Neil Gaiman in just a minute. And then a really cool event, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman blank comics for 24-hour comic day. Yes, it's just 22 blank pages with a blank front and back cover, so you can make your own especially cool comic. Really fun stuff. So if you're into that sort of thing, pick those up. Great week for the Marvel guys too. Lot going on in the Marvel universe these days. Let's talk some Infinity Wars. Sleepwalker. It's one of the many offshoots to the Infinity Wars series that's going on. As Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a brand new title, and this one ties into your Infinity Wars. I know there's a lot going on with that stuff, but man, it's been really good. That Soldier Supreme and Iron Hammer, now Sleepwalker, and As Guardians of the Galaxy is already fun because it's got Thor Frog. A lot going on in the X-Books too. This is X-Men Black, Magneto. Been saying it's a really good time to be an X-Men fan. Going to be a few of these X-Men Blacks rolling out. You love Magneto. Shatterstar gets his own title. Everybody's been waiting for that since like 1995. And Weapon X, along with Weapon H, rounds out your Wolverine / X-Men books for the week. Big week for the Spider Guy too. Superior Octopus number 1. You loved to hate Superior Spider-Man a few years back when Otto Octavius was the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Now he's updating his game. Fun stuff there. Typhoid Fever with Spider-Man, with Typhoid Mary. Who's Typhoid Mary? Well, if you watch Netflix, you might know. If you're an old school Daredevil fan, you might know. Cool stuff there too. And What If is back. So excited about this. What If goes all the way back in the day to the 1970s. Cool old school stuff. Now they're launching it again. There's a 70s version, a 90s version. Now there's a new version. You can read a little more about this in our newsletter. They sort of take famous moments from Marvel history and skew it a little bit and show you what might have happened this week. Spider-Man, Flash Thompson becomes the Amazing Spider-Man. Or what if the X-Men were digital? What If has always been cool stuff. So make sure you check those out. And they've got a couple old school ones for just $1 in the True Believers category. That one. Or what if Jane Foster had become Thor? And she actually did become Thor. So that was actually really cool. Love these True Believer $1 reprints. Haven't been showing them a lot because we don't talk a lot about trades and reprints and stuff. But for $1, come on, that's awesome. Tony Stark Iron Man #4. Also very excited about this book. If you're an old school Avengers fan like me, you remember way back to Avengers number 224, back in the 80s, maybe even late 70s, when these two had a little fling. And now they're back. Fun stuff there. Love the Wasp. Doctor Strange, Marvel's other big movie star. And The Champions. Round out all of your main Marvel books. But Cosmic Ghost Rider. It's one of the hottest books Marvel has. Just a mini, but boy, it's been selling out and going to reprint like crazy, so I hope this one's already on your sub list. Along with Death of the Inhumans, which other mini for the week. Aren't a whole lot of mini-series these days now that the main titles come out like every 2 weeks, but those are a couple of good ones. Star Wars. Always encouraging you guys to check out the great job Marvel does with their Star Wars stuff. This is, of course, the main title with a great Vader cover. And jumping out of order a little bit, but on the subject of Star Wars, IDW also does Star Wars books. This is Tales from Vader's Castle. It's an all-ages book, but it's cool, creepy, spooky, just in time for Halloween. There's going to be 5 issues of this. You know I love anything Star Wars. And what a great week for all the other guys, too, since I jumped to IDW. Umbrella Academy is back from Dark Horse. This is the 3rd volume. We'll have the trade paperbacks for the other 2 just in time for this one. Tomb Raider Inferno. It's another great Dark Horse book. Nobody does licensed stuff as well as Dark Horse. And Likely Stories. Check out this big gun. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Neil Gaiman in just a minute. Creator of Sandman. Now here's a big collection from Dark Horse. He's doing a lot of stuff through Dark Horse with the Neil Gaiman library. You know we love Neil here at Black Cat. Pick up some Likely Stories. That's good stuff. Big week for the Image guys too. Let's talk some first issue Gotta Have It Image books, because there's a whole bunch of them this week. This is Errand Boys #1. This is Blackbird #1. This is Dead Rabbit #1. And this is Juke Joint #1. Always encouraging you guys to grab these first issue Image books, not just because of their collectability, but because Image does a huge range of subject matter, huge range of genres, huge range of comics. There's, you know, literally something for everyone. So I always encourage you guys to grab these first issues and see if it's a good book for you. Because quite frankly, because of the collectability, by the time they get to like issue 4, you can't find the book anymore. Good stuff for the Image guys. But of course, they got lots of classics too, like Walking Dead. Maybe you've heard of this one. Maybe you've heard of Robert Kirkman. He does another book called Die, Die, Die. And last but not least, Magic Order from Mark Miller. Another great Image book. Oh, I'm sorry, one more to get even more classic. How about some Spawn? Still one of the best books Image does. Still some of the best art in comics. Because it's out this week, a little like the Maxx, threw up some old school Spawn so you can remember how far back it really goes and how long he's really been awesome. Speaking of back, the Lone Ranger is back from Dynamite. Like Dark Horse, Dynamite does a fantastic job with all of their licensed property stuff. I'm a huge Lone Ranger fan. Really stoked to see that one back. And Zorro is also back from American mythology. Don't get much more classic than Zorro. like the Lone Ranger. Everybody loves a good classic Western. Transformers Bumblebee is your IDW book, along with the aforementioned Tales from Vader's Castle. Sparrowhawk is your Boom Studios book of the week. A lot of cool stuff coming from Boom these days. And Archie number 699. Let me talk a minute about Archie. So the old school, your all ages Archie book ended at number 666, oddly enough. They ran 32 issues of the Mark Waid run, which has been mind-blowingly phenomenal. Now this number 699 catches you up with all the Mark Waid stuff, leading you into Archie number 700. Archie is one of the best publishers rolling right now, so pick this one up, catch up with what Mark Waid has been doing on the book. Look out for that number 700. Love me some Archie stuff. And just a couple of all-ages books, but always encouraging you guys to have an all-ages book on your list, like DuckTales, or like My Little Pony, or like Rainbow Bright. You love some Rainbow Bright. You loved her in the 80s. You've been waiting all these years to see her in comic form. Now there you go. If you're a fan of Poppy Bright, this is very, very different. Good stuff. That's all we got for you for this week. You can check us out at Facebook. Check out our cool YouTube page. Check out black-cat-comics.com and our brand new Shopify store. Check out the podcast at soundcloud.com. Or just get on down here to the good old brick and mortar in Rockin' Milpitas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.